Ugh. Hey, good morning, everybody. So, hey, my name is Isagani. I just wanted to share that with you, and I got a story to tell you. I've been in the military now for about 27 years, and in the 27 years, I've had a great career, but I got a secret. It's not really a secret. I'm retiring. I dropped my retirement. I'm just waiting for the final paperwork to go through and ensure that HRC says yes and put their stamp of approval, and then I'm out. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I don't know what that's gonna look like, retirement for me. All I know is I've got about maybe 30 plus years of service in total. I started off in the National Guard, California National Guard at that. Then I went into the Washington Reserves, and then I went into active duty shortly after. So why am I telling you all this, and why is this pertinent? Well, I was supposed to go to another assignment. I had just come out of an assignment here in my local area in Augusta, Georgia. I was supposed to go into another assignment in Virginia, but because of my health scare that occurred in July, beginning of July, I decided that it's time to retire. I could probably do a couple more years. I could ride this out. I could have taken on another job, a higher level job, but I think it's just time for me to transition out of the military. It's time for me to prioritize my family, prioritize myself, prioritize my health, my mental clarity, and then more so prioritize my spiritual walk. Being in the military, I'm not saying you can't do all that. I've done it. I've done all that, but to really prioritize to the point where you're giving it your all, right? You're giving yourself, your family, God, everything, and not be worried about the job, the mission, the task, not worried about taking care of other soldiers and their situations. Mind you, I love what I do. I love being part of the military. There's people that can say, oh yeah, the military, blah blah blah, or they had a bad experience, and that one bad experience destroyed their thought about being in the military. Or it doesn't even have to be just the military. It could be anywhere in the civilian world, right? There are just some of those that are negative Nancy's. If your name is Nancy, I apologize. I don't mean to use your name in vain in some shape or form. I guess a negative Nelly. Oh wait, that's a name also. Man, I'm 0 for 2 right now. And that even makes me curious. How did that come about? Negative Nancy, negative Nelly, or even the word Karen. Like, where does that come from? Anyways, that's something. I'm off script. But so I really just wanted to share with you all why I'm retiring, why it's important for me to retire, and then what's the impact to my life, right? If I retire, the impact is really positive. Just like the military has been so great to me. Let me tell you all, if I've been in the military for 30 plus years in some shape or capacity, between the California National Guard, the Army Reserves, and then of course active duty Army, I cannot talk bad about the military at all. Like, the military has taken care of me, has taken care of my family, has taken care of my livelihood. It has educated me. I'm a dude that barely passed high school, right? And matter of fact, I didn't even pass high school. I had to go get a GED when I came to the States. And that's another Man, so uh, I was sitting in there working on the computer, and then I looked outside. Well, actually, I heard the thunder roar, and then I looked outside, and it's pouring. It is like pouring like crazy right now out here. So y'all can see it's out here raining. You see right there. But anyways, I wanted to go back to the topic I was talking to you about, or why I retired. It's just like this, right? And this hopefully ties in a little bit. So as rain comes down onto the earth, it cleanses, right? It cleanses away, and then it starts anew. Well, for me, that's what retirement is for me. It's for me to restart and try something new. I have been in the military, like I said, for many years now. And the funny thing is, I grew up around the military because my stepfather was in the Navy. So I've been in the military community for so many years. I guess we could say 40 years now, right? 40, almost 50 years if you think about it. So it's time for me to transition. It's time for me to do something new and look at what's next for my life. With my kids, they're moving on. They're young adults. They're learning to be on their own, or they've been on their own, and really getting a grasp of what that looks like, right? So as they got older and as I got older, I feel like it's time for me to really put focus on myself, focus on my marriage, my spiritual walk, and then enjoy life, right? I've done everything that I could to raise my kids so that they can have the best life they could possibly have, and provide for them the best that I could, right? So retirement for me it's a positive thing, but also I need this closure so I can move on to do better and greater things. So why start vlogging? It's too easy. The reason I'm starting to vlog is because, one, I suck at journaling. Let's be honest. I don't journal enough. And secondly, as I begin to retire, I have to really look at myself and know myself. And I know that myself, I don't like to sit and journal at all. And if I do try, I make a conscious effort to do so. Unfortunately, I'm just not deliberate to sticking to the routine and then creating those habits, those good habits to journal. But I also recognize as I begin to retire, I don't exactly know. I'm a year out from retiring, so I don't know if I'm going to want to work. I have enough, I think, with what I should get towards retirement. I should have more than enough to live a pretty decent life, right? Yeah, I'll be on a budget, but it gives me that little leeway to work with. So what does that look like in other things? Well, I think this transition with vlogging is going to help me, one, stay busy. There are statistics out there that talk about folks that end up getting out and retiring from whatever industry, civilian, military, police force, whatever. And most of those individuals that end up retiring have to have something to do, right? So I figured this is a segue for me to one, have a hobby that I can do, a hobby that I can, keep my mind going and keep busy, for one. Most folks I know my age, a lot of them do things or find things to do as a hobby. Some golf, some do some like to ride, or they travel. I like to do all those things, but I also know in the next at least 3 to 4 years, my wife is wanting to go to culinary school. My sons are going to school. So I gotta prioritize that a little bit. But I also want to let you all know the other part, other than my retirement, is I plan on moving back to the Philippines. So my plan is, it's really a 6-year plan, but I'm really not counting this year coming up for retirement. This is just a transition year. I'm still in the uniform. I'm beginning the process of transitioning. That means I have to go through the transition classes, courses, medical appointments, and all that stuff before I retire, so that I can make sure that side of the house is squared away. But it's going to be a journey and a process, so I'd like to share that with you, at least give you my point of view of what that's going to look like, right? But on the other note, I also have to plan to retire, because I do have plans to travel. I do have plans to live in Philippines someday, and that someday is 2030ish, 2030 maybe, maybe sooner, or maybe a little later, or exactly in 2030. So I've got a backward plan to make sure that I have a strategic and aligned goal to get there and make it there. So this vlogging is going to help me stay prioritized and goal oriented. So this is the other reason. So what are you going to see if you happen to stay with me? If you decide to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like this, I'm going to give you raw footage, raw content of what my day-to-day is, how I'm transitioning from the military and preparing and doing all this stuff. I also have to go visit the Veterans Affairs building here, so I can start figuring out what benefits I get from there. And then biggest thing out of that part of retirement is one, healthcare. What does healthcare look like for me? I've only known the military, so I've got to start pre-positioning myself to do that. And my family, right? Pre-position my family for all this transition. So a lot to do, and I thought I would be scared and terrified, but I've always heard it from other people and other individuals that says, hey, you'll know when it's ready. When you're ready to retire, you'll know, and you're going to love the process. So to be honest with you, the day that I decided to push send on my request to retire, and then also attend my first transition briefing, I wasn't scared. I was actually excited, and I am excited. So the vlog hopefully will turn into something that allows you all to see a point of view from me being in the military, and this also segues into me putting it out there. If you have comments or questions or whatever it may be that you want to know about the military, I'll give you my honest assessment, my honest answer. Now, mind you, I can't give you, I don't have secrets of the world and none of that, but I think I have a little bit of wisdom of what I do, and then I'll talk to a little bit more. Promise you, this is not going to be your traditional vlog. I'm covering many topics because of my own journey and my family's journey. I'm covering going back to college. I'm covering back to my wife going through a process to get into a college, and then of course my recovery to health, right, is a big one. So that's going to be a big portion of what you'll see from me, is that recovery to health. How do I recover from my health scare? And then I'll give you a whole breakdown of what that health scare was on another video. Actually, as soon as I post this, I'll start working on that one right away. The other thing is that I have a whole bunch of people around me that have great testimonies, and I'd love to share them with you. Some why they joined the Army, some why they stayed for 20, 25, 30 years, even 35 years. and what makes them keep going after all this. Also, I would love to get some young individuals that have come into the uniform and pick their brain. Why did in this time period? Why would they join the army now? When I hear that majority of this new generation really don't want to be in the military. So it's interesting to me why people come in, and everybody's got a testimony, everybody's got a story, and I love that about the military, regardless of what branch. Everybody joins for a reason, and sometimes that reason is they just needed to get away from home, get away from that small town life that they had, to maybe they came in because they have a family, unexpected family that they need to provide for, or some join because they had a strategic plan to use the time in the military to go to school and earn the ability to use their GI Bill to go back to school or to progress their career. I have seen so many young soldiers come in and in a matter of 5, 6, 7 years have transitioned out, but when they left, they were smart. They had worked through to get their associate's degree, bachelor's degree, and some got master's degree, and even some worked on getting their doctorates, right? And then there were some that even came in as an enlisted soldier and then transitioned into the officer side. So many wonderful things. I've even met an officer who came in as an officer, decided he wanted to fly for the army, so then became a warrant officer, and then now turned back and became an officer again because of some medical issues. So as you can see, there's just a wealth of knowledge that surrounds me, and I like to get their testimonies. But the other part is, I live here in Augusta, Georgia, and some of you may have never heard of Augusta, Georgia, or even know where it is in Georgia. Believe me, I didn't know either until I was told I was coming here. But when I first came here, I did not want to come here. I was upset. But as I've stayed here, I've learned that this place has got a lot of hidden gems. And if you allow me to, I will show you some of those hidden gems. I'll share them to you from my point of view, my family's point of view. And we'll go from there. We'll see what happens. All right. Well, let me get up in here. The rain has stopped. I got to go help my son make some dinner, and then we're going to go from there. All right. All right, everybody. Hey, it's about that time. We're about to sit down, relax for the rest of the night. Hey, if you like what you got, subscribe, hit that notification bell, like, and
subscribe.